We're watching Pokimane. Editor situation is crazy. I'm pumped. I know nothing. Alex is going in with a little bit, so let's go.
There's a crazy clip from Pokimane's stream going viral right now that I really want to talk about, but it also made me want to speak on a story I've never told about an experience I've had that's somewhat similar to the one she describes here, at least in terms of creepiness. And, well, now I finally have a reason to get that baby off my chest here. So
and get paid to do it.
Hey, absolutely. Charlie's eyebrows are looking exceptionally thick in this
Extra
video.
thick.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to drop the eyebrow gel. We all know that they're working on a formulation. I feel like Pokimane is number one for influencers who actually aren't trying to go viral and somehow manage to every few months.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think she's trying to do it anymore. It just keeps happening.
It'd be cathartic. Let's dive in.
Many years ago, when I was like super omega active on YouTube and I was working with a lot of different editors, there was one editor in particular that I would work with a lot because his edits were really good, but he had one major problem, which was that sometimes out of nowhere his videos would just be like a week or two late. Months go by and he messages me out of the blue and he says, "Hey, do you have time to talk? I'm ready to finally tell you why I've been struggling so much with deadlines."
In the history of the human race, I don't think there has ever been a good ending to the sentence, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk?" That always precedes the most vile shit you'll ever hear in your life. I can't even imagine a situation where you'd hear that sentence and think anything other than the most negative thing you'll ever hear is about to happen.
Like, I hear that sentence a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's no biggie.
I say that to Wesley all the time.
All the time. Oh, it's you. That's why.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have this feeling. I know it's a meme. That's why it's you.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to type.
Yeah.
I'll be texting Alex, and I'll be honest. It may be like 5 pretty long paragraphs in a row, like da-da-da-da-da-da, we should react to this, we should react to that. And I'll be like, can we talk? Can I talk to you for a minute? I'm like, sure. That's why you broke me. I don't work right. I can't be relatable anymore.
Imagine you're in heaven and the Lord pulls you aside right in front of the pearly gates and he says, "Hey, you got a minute to talk?" Well, you immediately assume you're just going to hell. Like, there's just no world where that sentence ever precedes good
like,
news.
what? Did I send too many texts, God?
Yeah.
You just want to do this on the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to go over the register?
Yeah.
I can tell you what I did. We don't have to read the book.
Yeah.
Tell me why he proceeds to tell me that the reason why he would sometimes turn around videos a week or two late is because he couldn't stop touching himself.
No shot.
I'll try to know which word to use.
For a week?
Whoa.
For a week?
That's wild.
For a week?
That is wild.
For a week? What is this man's skin made of, bro? Is he not getting rubbed raw? Like, what?
All his liquid is gone. He's just a corpse at that point.
It's like the mummy?
Yeah.
He's like the mummy? What? How can he tank that kind of damage?
That's wild.
Scientists should study him, like, to get fabrics that are more resistant to friction.
Yeah, he should take up porn acting at this point.
Honestly,
the stamina that goes on and on.
Wild to me. There's so many questions.
His, in a way, employer of many months.
That's wild.
Stop for a second and really let that stew in your noodle. Let it marinate.
I don't want to
for a
let it
bit.
stew or marinate.
How
sir.
Coomer-brained must you be not only to do this degenerate act of just fucking beating your meat to a streamer's gameplay footage that you're editing.
Can you imagine? I didn't even think about that. Like, he's whacking it to Pokey in the footage he's editing. I didn't take that away. I thought he was like going extracurricular and just not on YouTube. I thought he was looking up the transparent robe girls on YouTube.
Oh no!
But I can't believe he was he whacking it to her? I mean, I guess that's the implication you would, if you're Pokimane, and that's kind of like a consistent joke you would draw, right? But that's not what I thought.
That is so degenerate.
That's so degenerate.
That
I can't
is wild.
believe you're just like, hey, I was having some issues. I was having some like behavioral management issues, and I've got it sorted out. Don't worry, it's all good. I'm so sorry I put you through that. It's like, yo, I was whacking it 8 times a day. It's wild to me too. Like, how long does it take that you can't still edit.
What a stamina on this man.
Can you imagine any other career? Like, to not do your job? Like, a lawyer is just not showing up to client meetings because he's just furiously beating his meat in the office instead. I can't believe, this is insane to me. I feel like the one thing about social media is there is no bar for entry. Like, you know, in normal 9-to-5 jobs, there's kind of these hoops you have to jump through for everyone to make sure you're not just an absolute degenerate weirdo.
Sure.
You have interviews with HR. You have to fill out this resume. With social media, you're usually just talking to the person who's hiring you.
Yep.
And it's very much like, hey, I can edit here. Cool. Do it. Great. Boom. And so as a result, you get crazy behavior.
But then tell her that the reason you're late on some of the edits is because you can't stop squeezing your hog to the footage that she sends you.
That's crazy.
There are so many layers to this onion here. Let's just start by picking apart the most obvious. Why? Now, I know in the most severe cases of porn addicts...
Also, Charlie said that he can relate to this.
That's
where I'm confused.
Where's the story going?
Where's it going?
Charlie's like, yeah, I have this guy who was furiously masturbating to my uncut footage.
Sneeko was masturbating to me this whole entire time.
That makes perfect sense.
They'll sometimes try and communicate directly to the porn star by, like, leaving comments or sending messages or whatever. And that's always the saddest shit you'll ever see. That'll bring a tear to even the strongest man's eyes. Occasionally you'll see those moments where dudes try and directly communicate to the porn star, leaving comments on their posts saying things like, can't wait to watch this one when I'm off work, or when my wife goes to bed, that's when the bad boy will play. Thanks for providing me with tonight's entertainment, whatever. Like, just
if you're waiting for your wife to go to bed, you're not a bad boy. I'm just gonna like, that's like that Key and Peele sketch where it's like, and I told her, bitch. Like, you're not. Who's the bad boy?
Nobody
no,
here.
Not you, sir. Like, guys, I'm sick. I'm a bad man. Like, I'm like, wait till my wife's in the other room
and I'll go crazy.
I'm gonna go crazy, but quiet. Sheets over. Sheets over. I'm a bad man.
Leaving these desperate posts, you know, cock in hand, giving a salute, like, thank you, madame, for your service. This will be a legendary gooning sesh. But even in those cases, they're communicating with someone they don't know. This guy was her editor for many months. And he was not only jerking off to the content he was being sent, which was just gameplay videos, I imagine, or like just chatting stream moments, nothing even sexual, and he was still choking the chicken to it, fucking playing the skin flute, and then had the gall to tell her that he was doing that is just incomprehensibly unhinged. She was his boss. She was employing him. So he basically went right through HR, bypassed that protocol, went straight to the top of the food chain, kicked in the door, and said, listen, boss, I'm fucking obliterating my wiener, and what are you gonna do about it? That's why I've been late on my deadlines.
I think he was like, what are you gonna do about it? I think he was expecting her to be like, positive towards him.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying this fully expecting she was gonna be like, oh wow, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm really happy you figured out that this was what was holding you back.
Yeah. We can take our relationship to the next level.
I don't even think it was that, dude. I don't even get that. It might be, but I think it was more like, yeah, so like I'll be good and we don't have to worry about the deadlines anymore. I truly think that in his mind, that's literally all he was communicating. He was just like, hey, just so you know, I figured out why. And that's a scary thought also, that he had to, it took this amount of time for him to figure out why he was late. I do think it's funny that his work was really good because you know what there's that meme that's like, to make the best decision, you should crank one out first.
Oh,
so
he took it one too far.
He was just like on another plane. He was like in the galaxy, like astral traveling, editing these videos.
We should crank one out before we start.
Absolutely
there you
not.
go.
Absolutely not. It's like that guy. There was a guy who threw a perfect game because he was on LSD in baseball.
Okay,
isn't that nuts?
That's wild.
So it's just like cool. He's transcended.
Like I don't think he came in with that energy. I bet he was like super shy about it. He was probably like, "Well, Pokimane, so." I know I've been kind of late recently, but it's only because I was, how do you say, jerking off to your work.
On a call, bro. He said it on a call.
Yeah.
He didn't even type it.
Ever halted a conversation so fast because I'm like, you are the person that I send like hours of footage to. I don't want to know what you're jacking it to. I don't want to know more. I shouldn't even know how much I know right now. I shouldn't know.
I'd actually argue that it's better she did know this, no matter how awful it is. But that way she can get the fuck away from this weirdo ASAP. Just say, take a hike, Buster.
I do think it's crazy, though, because even despite all this, she still said his edits were really fire.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and that's why I'm also like, oh, the edits are so good. Pokey's like, do what you gotta do. I don't want to know about it. The edits were fire. That's the first thing she said about this guy. She didn't lead with like, oh, this editor's kind of masturbatory. She's like, this editor makes great
content.
Just one slight downside. It makes me think of like when you hear stories about NFL players who are just like degenerates or so weird in some way, but they put up with them because they're so productive on the field.
I wish Instagram came out with like a number of the amount of your friends that had jacked off to your
because they know
stuff.
they're watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Zuck's got that.
That's the weirdest thing out to me. Is
Zuck's
like,
got that metric.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could never like finding out that there's friends that are like, oh yeah, this one girl from high school, I just like look at her stuff. I was like, that's disgusting. What are you doing?
I think it's so creepy too to just think about like the implications of this, just of social media in general.
Oh yeah.
It's like some of them are probably cranking their hog sauce right now.
fucking terrible.
But I felt so bad. So when he's like, you know, like this is like an addiction of mine, I genuinely felt really, really bad. So I still paid him for months. What the hell do I do? Fire him?
Yes.
Am I even allowed to fire someone because they're...
That's definitely towards the top of the list for the best reasons to fire someone. That actually might be reason number one why you could go ahead and can somebody. Because they can't stop fucking beating their cock to you, their employer. And they're also not doing their job well by being 1 to 2 weeks late. Which, by the way, is a long time of just fucking gooning here. This degenerate would miss his deadlines by a week or even up to 2 weeks because he was obsessively polishing his scepter.
What do you think would be funnier, if this is all honest, or if this was the best lie he could come up with? Like, he's actually just being pretty normal and just procrastinating and stuff.
Yeah. The dog ate his computer,
and he's just like, okay, I know what it'll get me back in her good graces. I've seen a lot of people being sympathetic to porn addiction.
So there it is.
So here it is. I think it's so much funnier if he doesn't actually, and he thought that somehow this was going to be a better card. It's so funny.
To his employer. You 100% can and should fire someone like this.